Welcome to another team selection video ahead of Game Week 10. I'm also going to be doing a brief overview of how Game Week 9 went, such a tumultuous game week, and also the 2 transfers I've made for a hit already, and I definitely don't recommend making early transfers, by the way. So without further ado, let's head straight into the video. So in the end, I got 86 points and still a significant, I'd say, red arrow from around 79k to 99k, just about maintaining that spot in the top 100k. And I have to say, after the Saturday, which was such a disaster, having Azpilicueta benched, for example, and just having no points. There were so many goals being scored and I literally just had no returns from anyone. But Sunday was much, much better. And of course, I did get Livramento off my bench for the second week running with a clean sheet in Game Week 8 and then with a goal in Game Week 9. So very impressed by him, and maybe he should be starting. So he's more than a bench fodder option at the moment, and he's got the attacking potential. And Southampton are not too bad defensively, although they still leave quite a bit to be desired. Ramsdale didn't get the clean sheet in the end because of a wonder goal by Ramsey, so a little bit unfortunate in that regards, but I think 3-1 was a fair result. Arsenal could have scored more, in fact, and Arsenal were very impressive, but this is the thing with Arsenal. You just never know what you're going to get from them. I expected Saka to start despite his injury concerns, but I still benched him. I put him second on my bench because I just don't trust him, and it was actually Smith Rowe in the end who did the business and got 13 points, so he was very impressive. Saka, on the other hand, spurned some very good opportunities, so he's definitely someone that I've never really been fond of as an FPL asset, and I'm actually just, I'd be glad to get, see the back of him pretty much, and we'll be talking about that very soon. Now looking at the defence, very disappointing as well. Manchester City, I had a double up, of course, with Diaz and Cancelo, both 1 point each, which is very frustrating. Well, should I say Diaz got 2 and Cancelo got 1. He got the yellow card. Ederson, I don't know what he was thinking, considered the penalty, so unnecessary, and there you go, no clean sheet. And that's kind of I'd say the risk of doubling up on any defence, even if they're as good as Manchester City or Chelsea. One individual mistake and they can easily lose the clean sheet like that. But still, I think going big at the back is still, I'd say, a viable strategy. And Trent Alexander-Arnold and Livramento have shown that. Livramento with 9 points, scoring the goal and some bonus points. Trent with the assist and a bonus and a clean sheet against Manchester United. A 5-0 victory for Liverpool. No one really expected that, although Liverpool were the heavy favourites for that game. And then, as I said before, Azpilicueta, I think if he started, he could have easily gotten double digits as well. Such a shame that he didn't. He probably will start in Game Week 10. And then Mohamed Salah as the captain. He probably should be the permanent captain at this moment in time. 48 points against United away is absolutely incredible. And what a performance. And I think Liverpool, if they kind of kept going for it, Salah could have gotten even more points and Liverpool could have actually won by even more than they did in the end. And then Townsend, yet again, very disappointing. And to be honest, he is someone that shown a lot of good form in the recent weeks, prior to me getting him in. But at the moment, it's just not really turning out the way I expected. Rafinha and Vardy, both injury doubts. Ahead of Game Week 10, both substituted off before the 60th minute mark. Vardy at half-time, and Vardy, of course, was my new signing, the replacement for Romelu Lukaku. So very unfortunate there, I'd say, because Lukaku was someone I brought in on a wild card in Game Week 8, and he just hasn't been doing it. He got injured, and then his replacement, Vardy, is also injured. But obviously, they still can make it for Game Week 10, Rafinha and Vardy, but let's wait and see. And of course, Rafinha does play Norwich next, so very, very obviously hopeful that he does make it for that, because he could actually do really well against the Canaries. And then the rest of my front line, Tony blanked. He actually had a really encouraging performance against Leicester with some really good passes and also some chances. So I think I'm actually really confident with Tony heading into the next few fixtures, and I'm not put off by the blanks. And as for Antonio, got the goal, amazing celebration, by the way, the Neo dodging bullets thing, and also a bonus point. So really impressed by him. And what was Kane doing, by the way, for the corner? Literally just let Antonio score, which was just very strange, to be honest. And then, yeah, as I said before, Douglas Luiz blanked, Saka really poor, and Azpilicueta didn't even play, which was very, very disappointing. At one point, I have to say, just before Antonio, Livramento came on, and also Salah and Trent, before those 4 players really came up good for me, I was on 14 points and it was just looking so bleak, and I was actually just laughing at how poor the game week was going. But yeah, those 4 players, especially Salah as the captain, they changed my week, and I'd say they mitigated the damage of not having Chilwell or any of these Chelsea assets like Mount and other things like Foden, for example. I don't have him, but that is in game week 9. Now let's look ahead to game week 10. I've made 2 transfers, and I think you can tell who I actually got in. So Ramsdale's going to be in goal away to Leicester. I could actually play Foster against Southampton, but I think if Broja's fit and Southampton keep on going the way they have been in recent weeks, I actually wouldn't be expecting a clean sheet for Watford, who looked very impressive, by the way, against Everton in a 5-2 victory, a Joshua King hat-trick, but still, I'm not too sure of a clean sheet for the Hornets, so let's wait and see there. I actually probably would play Ramsdale instead, but still, it's a decision to make. It's not really that clear. It's probably 50-50 if anything, and if Vardy's fit, I definitely expect him to score. And Leicester have shown a bit of form recently. They're scoring a lot of goals in Europa League and also in the Premier League. And now I've got a double Manchester City defence against Crystal Palace. I'm pretty confident there of a clean sheet. And Trent Alexander-Arnold should do the business against Brighton. That should be pretty decent. And then my new signing, Ben Chilwell, has come in for Azpilicueta. A bit of a sideways move, to be honest. I think Azpilicueta is more nailed, and I still maintain that Azpilicueta and Rudiger are probably the best picks long term. The reason why I've actually gone for Chilwell is because it actually gives me enough money to then do Saka to Phil Foden, which I think is a massive upgrade. And if I'm being completely honest, I think when I wildcarded, Foden only had 1 performance really in the Premier League, 1 start where he scored against Liverpool, so we didn't have enough information on him. And then there was also Son. I would have had him on a wildcard if it wasn't for the positive COVID test, which in the end turned out to be a false positive. But in the end, I would love to have both Son and Foden heading into the next few fixtures, and I can still actually achieve it by maybe downgrading Antonio to Hwang, or also downgrading one of my defenders like Diaz to a Janssen or a Pinnock. And if not, I can actually just downgrade Townsend to another bench fodder option, and that'll give me enough money to get Son in for Rafinha, who is also an injury doubt. And I have to say, this is why you shouldn't make early transfers. And I always say this, but I did it in the end. Maybe a bit reactionary, you could say, but I wanted Phil Foden in my team nonetheless. And right now, if Rafinha and Vardy both don't play in game week 10, it's not the end of the world, but what could actually end up happening is one of my City defenders or Chilwell are actually benched ahead of game week 10, and then I'm basically really relying on my bench players to actually play. So Townsend and Livramento should play, and that should be fine. And honestly, I should probably play Livramento at this point, and I actually might have to rely on Douglas Luiz. So I'm literally stretching myself in. I've put myself in a situation where I'm a bit vulnerable because I made early transfers, but I still like my team a lot. If everyone's fit, I actually wouldn't want to make too many changes. Just ahead of game week 12, I'd still be eyeing up a move for Heung-min Son. And as Harry Kane proved against West Ham, yes, he had a few good chances and a few good moments, but he's just not on it at the moment. And the goal that Antonio scored just shows the kind of state of mind that Harry Kane is in. So I'm not really too, I'd say, in a rush to get the Englishman, but Heung-min Son is someone I definitely want in my team at some point. But I'm really happy with the team overall. I think the defence, if they all start, they could all do really well, especially the double City defence. They're the most likely to get a clean sheet out of those 3 teams that I have. But still, Liverpool could keep a clean sheet against Brighton, and Trent could get some attacking returns. And then Chilwell, if he starts against Newcastle, even if they don't keep a clean sheet, I think Chilwell could get a goal or an assist. But I do expect the run to end. That's 4 consecutive starts for him in the Premier League where he scored. But I don't expect him to make it 5, despite bringing him in. I definitely think I might actually jinx him, if anything. And my midfield is looking really solid. If Rafinha's fit against Norwich, he could do really well. Salah captain, I think it's just a no-brainer. I'm not going to overcomplicate it at this point. And I did it last week where a lot of people thought, well, it's United away. Salah captaincy is not the way to go. He's proving at the moment that he just is a must-have in all fantasy formats. And in UCL Fantasy, I'm definitely going to be looking to bring him back in, despite a really strong matchday 3. And then Phil Foden, my new signing, probably my vice-captain. But once again, just like with Chilwell, he could actually not play in game week 10, and I know this. And yet I still brought him in, and I'd rather have him over Saka, to be honest, who just not really impressive. I wouldn't be surprised if Saka does well against Leicester. He has done it before in the past, but still not really too keen on the English winger. So I'm just going to prefer Phil Foden, who is just a far superior player and also FPL asset. And then my front line, once again, if they're all fit, so obviously Vardy's the main concern here, I think they could all do extremely well. And obviously Vardy does have a knee injury. Let's see how he recovers in time. Hopefully it's nothing major. But with Rafinha, he was in a protective boot. But Rafinha himself came out on his Instagram and said that he is completely fine and there's nothing to worry about. But let's wait and see. Hopefully those two are fit, and if they are, I'm very confident heading into game week 10. Ivan Toney now has these good fixtures where you could really translate those good performances and underlying stats to points, which is what we all want. And then Mikel Antonio away to Aston Villa, not the easiest fixture, but I still think that Antonio can do well. And Villa recently have been very shaky at the back, conceding 6 goals in the last 2 games, getting comeback versus Wolves and then conceding 3 to Arsenal, and it honestly should have been much more. I think in terms of my bench, Townsend and Livramento are good options to come off in case one of my players gets benched, or if they're just injured like Rafinha and Vardy. But maybe I should be playing Livramento. Let me know what you think of this team selection, who you would captain, and also what you think of my early transfers. Honestly, you know, looking back and thinking logically, I don't think it's the smartest move to make a hit like that when my team was still in a good place. So instead of Saka, for example, I could have just been playing Livramento or Townsend, and with Azpilicueta, he probably will be starting in game week 10 anyway. But I think having Foden in there instead of Saka is a major upgrade, and it also allows me, because I did these moves before the price rises for both players, it actually allows me to have enough money to get Hwang, maybe get Janssen or Pinnock, and also Heung-min Son in my team. So overall, I think I'm in a good position. I've got a good squad that I'm happy with, a somewhat decent rank, and also I've got the funds and the means to get some of the other players I've been looking at, such as Heung-min Son, who I think could be really good, especially from game week 12 onwards. But that's pretty much how my team is set up. I might make some changes in terms of the squad selection, so Foster could come in instead of Ramsdale, Livramento could come into my starting 11, or at least be first on my bench. But what would you change? Let me know down in the comment section below, as I said before. And if you haven't already, smash the like button and subscribe for new if you found this useful, and obviously very much appreciated. And if you haven't already, follow me on Twitter and Instagram. It's Dylan_RCM. It's the same as my YouTube handle. Really appreciate all the support recently, especially in the reaction stream. So many of you there. It was a blast doing that, and same with all the live streams we've been doing recently. We've done a lot of them. We did a reaction stream for game week 9 as well, only a few days ago, and also we actually did a deadline stream for game week 9 too. So there's plenty of content. Of course, when UCL Fantasy is back, I'm going to be making videos and live streams for that, so don't worry about that. And also ahead of game week 10 in FPL, I'm going to be doing the preview, so I'll be showing you my update in team selection, any changes that I make there. I'll be going over the top 5 captaincy choices for the week, and I'm also going to be showing you the best free hit team specifically for game week 10. And not just that, I'm going to be showing you all the key updates and injury news on all of the players that we get, and we should get some early press conferences because we have the Carabao Cup midweek. So some early injury news and stuff like that should be coming, and that will be very helpful for us FPL managers. And of course, I'll be aiming to do a deadline stream perhaps on the Friday as usual, but if not, if some of you want, we can do it on the Saturday just before the deadline, because we do have a Saturday deadline this time. Maybe some of you will prefer that, a bit more time to kind of gather our thoughts, and of course there could be plenty of price rises along the way. But thank you very much for watching this video, and I'll see you next time.